that you're gone, I can fly.
BS League, fast forward, consume, blood boil, consume. What is up, guys? It is your LOL support here, and today I want to bring you guys a jungle Nunu guide. I know it's been a while since I've made a guide for you guys, and my other jungle Nunu was a little bit outdated, so I wanted to give a new version of it, especially now where he's not as popular of a jungle, like how to play effectively and play actually against Rek'Sai, who is one of the stronger junglers at the point of this recording. This was before the Rek'Sai nerfs. It really didn't do too much. I mean, hurt her, but she's still good. So in a meta where a lot of gank heavy junglers such as like Rek'Sai, Jarvan, they really excel, Vi, it's kind of hard to play an objective based jungler like Nunu and do well at it. So you really have to be on point with how you control objectives and how you are able to counter jungle and basically mess with the enemy jungler, because that's ultimately the goal when you're playing Nunu, is you're trying to counter jungle, you're trying to do your best to get off as much damage mentally and camp wise as you can on the enemy jungler. So let's get into the guide. Let's go into his abilities. I'm going to give a brief overview of his abilities. His consume is his main jungling tool. He's going to be using this to get a significant amount of damage off onto jungle camps. This is basically a smite level 1. This is typically the skill that I take first, and it works really well with Nunu, and I choose to max it personally because I'm more of an objective based jungler. If you were to be a gank heavy jungler, you can go ahead and max your snowball, or you can go ahead and max your blood boil. It is completely up to you. I think it's called ice blast. It's completely up to you. You can choose. What I like to do is I like to max out my consume, and if the enemy ADC is doing well, then I will take Ice Blast. If my ADC is doing well, then I will choose to take Blood Boil as a max for second. So right there, I cleared Crux. Nunu is a auto attack reliant champion, so unless I was planning on taking blue and instantly going over to red and stealing it, then I usually start Crux, because Crux is going to allow you to sustain even more in the jungle as a Nunu, because every first and fifth auto attack you're going to be stunning the enemy, or you're going to be stunning the buff, and that's going to give you some time to mitigate some damage. And also coupled with consume, you are really well off in the jungle as Nunu. So you see I started Crux, went to red buff, and I chugged 2 of my potions, well, biscuits, and I'll go into my runes and masteries in a second. Blood Boil, it speeds up your movement speed as well as your ally's movement speed. If you choose to Blood Boil an ally, it also increases the attack speed as well. So Blood Boil is a very useful tool. In the jungle, it's useful for yourself, but if you're ever near an ally and you're ganking, you're better off Blood Boiling them, because both you and your laner will both will get the Blood Boil stat. So there's really no point in only Blood Boiling yourself if you're going to go and gank another lane. So always Blood Boil your allies. So like I said, whether I choose to max Blood Boil first or Ice Blast first depends on how my lanes do. If my lanes do well, I choose to max Blood Boil. If my lanes are doing poorly and I need to gank a lot, and the only way I'll be getting off successful ganks is by good Ice Blasts and slowing them down and slowing the movement. Sorry, I spaced out. I was wondering what I was going to do here. So Fiora died in a fight with the Gnar, and you see I'm not pushing the wave by any means. I'm just trying to last hit as best I can, because I don't want to lose the gold, because League is about trying to lose as little gold as possible. Whichever team can lose the least amount of gold will be the team that ends up doing fairly well in the game. So had I not gone top and had I not got that CS, then that gold would have been just lost. It would have been off the map, you know? And no one would have been able to claim that. So I went ahead and went top to get it. There are instances where it's not worth it to do that though. If you are a jungler on the top side and dragon is up and you show yourself like that, you do let the enemy know that, hey, I'm not in the bot half jungle, so you guys can go ahead and take dragon. In those instances, I typically don't show for minions, just because although dragon does not give global gold, it gives a global buff, and it would be selfish of me to take gold for myself and deny my team a universal buff just for like 100 GP or something like that. It's really not worth it. So you see I'm coming over here. Nunu excels at doing early dragons. It's really nifty to have. As you see right there, I just barely misstepped the dragon knockback. If you are taking the dragon, it's better to walk in and auto attack it around here. So when he pushes you back, you only go to the wall, and it's a shorter distance than from here to here. So it's easier for you to get back in and start fighting the dragon. So go ahead and stand here and then auto attack. So he only pushes you to here, and then you can keep autoing. So it's just a little tip for you guys. So as you can see, 6-minute dragon I'm able to secure very easily. And really all he needs is the blue buff to be able to do this. I'm dancing. Okay. All you need is the blue buff to do that. I recommend level 5, but you can do it as early as level 3 with adequate consumables. I've never really tried level 2, but, you know, power to you if you want to go and try that at level 2. So on my first base, I go ahead and pick up the Trailblazers, just because I like the AoE clear from Nunu. I am a very, like I said, objective based jungler. So my strengths come in clearing camps fast and then going over to objectives, clearing those as well, and trying to counter jungle. So I haven't done really much counter jungling yet, but I will be in the future. So you're going to see I'm going to come up for a gank top. And I picked up the Sightstone as well, just because I like the vision that I'm able to give my team with the Sightstone. Granted, it won't always stay in the same place. Right here, Blood Bowling myself, see if I can get an Ice Blast onto him, and I do. It's always worth it for a Nunu to get some sort of small damage off onto any lane, really. Like, even if it's as small as just a little Ice Blast, like, that could make the difference between a one-on-one going in your team's favor or going against your team's favor. And with the amount of sustain he has in the jungle anyways, there's really no harm in receiving damage from the enemy while you gank. There's really no harm in it. So you see I pick up the Sweeping Lens. My general rule of thumb is if on the first base I can pick up a Sightstone, I will pick up a Sweeping Lens as well as the Sightstone. Because the Sightstone takes place of the warding totem that you usually get. As a top laner, I usually pick up the upgraded warding totem with the yellow upgrade. I don't get the vision ward upgrade. Unless I'm fighting someone like a Vayne top or an Akali top or something like that. Then I usually get the pink upgrade, just because it allows me to always have fighting capability against them, which is nice to have. And you see I pick up one pink ward as well. If when you base, you do not have a pink ward on the map, you should be placing a pink ward somewhere, because a pink ward is free vision. It's free permanent vision until they destroy it. So the way I choose to do this is I choose to put it in the upper half of the bot side jungle. Now the reason I do this is because this ward allows me to see whenever Rek'Sai crosses in or out of the bot side jungle. Now, inversely, I could have warded up here, but this would not have been as beneficial. Our Fiora is already ahead, and I was able to place the Tribe Brush ward, so she's going to be good for ganks, or good from ganks for a little bit. And also, it doesn't make sense for the Rek'Sai to be topside anyways. Rek'Sai's blue is currently up right now, so it made the most sense for him to be around here, and as you can see, he's right here. So Rek'Sai, when he entered his jungle, came through here, came up, and started doing, I'm guessing, wolves, and then he's going to come over and try and do his blue buff. Now, he did spot me, so I'm going to pretend like I walked away for a little bit, wait till I see him near his blue. I was able to pop off that ward and I called for my Thresh, and my Thresh is coming up, so we're able to apply pressure on him while he does his buff. Now that does one of two things. That forces either the ADC and support to come up, in which case ADC gets free tower and free CS and denies CS from the enemy laner. Their mid can rotate, but our mid can siege turret, or our mid can rotate and we'll get an advantageous fight. So you see right here, we get superior positioning on the enemy team, and we're able to secure the buff. We don't need a fight here. However, Thresh goes in, and MF gets a really nice ult. However, she does flash needlessly right there when Azir got the kill, so that was unfortunate. That's a summoner down for bot lane, but it's alright. That was a great fight, great initiate by the Thresh. I would not have personally done that, just because, you know, I don't find a need to, but then again, I'm more of a passive player. On most cases. But you see right here, I know two things. Jungler's dead, bot lane is pushed, top lane is pushed, so even if jungler were to come back, he has to choose between three options. Mid lane was low, so he had to base, so we're going to push down turret, and I ulted the minion wave to get all of these creeps up to the turret so that we had as much siege potential as possible. The reason why we didn't just let the CS die to turret is because Zed was up soon, and if Zed comes in and he's able to shadow, spin, and then clear the minion wave before we got the tower, then that fight would not have been as worth it. The fact that we were able to get a tower off of that fight is what made that fight favorable, in my opinion, and it actually made MF's flash a little bit less harmful. Like, it still sucks that she doesn't have a flash, but at least we were able to generate global gold because of it. So I'm gonna do Gromp here, and damn, Gromp doesn't die. Okay, so I'm going to go back to mid. So my Azir TP's into mid lane, so I'm not going to show myself yet in, like, right there. Now, I wanted to try and check the Rek'Sai for buffs, and since I didn't get vision of him right there, I'm going to get vision of him when he crosses my pink ward right there. So I see that he does have red buff, and what this tells me is he's already cleared the top side of his jungle, whether it's here and then Wraiths, and he's in the bot side now. So he really has no purpose of being up here currently. So what I want to do is I want to go in and counter jungle or ward up as much as I can. And another thing, Dragon is up right now, but what I do is, since I never show myself, they don't know where I'm at. Because if I had come into here and the minion wave was coming up to this turret, I would know that the minion wave is coming here, and if a minion wave passes here and you're standing in this area, you will be given vision of. Like, they will give vision of you to the enemy team, and you don't want that. So I made sure that the enemy minions weren't at the tower, or weren't at this tower for them. So then I came in, took the jungle, and left before vision was granted of me. So they still have no idea where I'm at. So you're going to see I'm going to try and make my way down to Dragon. I'm going to come through here, break vision by hugging this wall. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to break vision by hugging this wall, and going down to the Dragon buff by coming through here. Now, my bot lane is doing perfect right now in this scenario, and so is my top lane, so it really does help out a lot. Top lane's pushing hard into inhibitor turrets, and my bot lane pushed up the wave and rotated in towards the choke point of blue buff and Dragon. So what that does is that allows me to be able to take this buff freely, and by spreading outward through the only entrance that red team can logically access right now, they're pushing all the aggro away from the Dragon, and I'm able to solo our second Dragon very easily. So good play by my bot lane, very good awareness, and a good ult by the Azir was able to cut off that path completely anyways. So even if we did lose the fight, they would not have been able to come to us. So it was very easy. Now right here, I'm checking what the enemy team is doing. I'm checking the kills on the enemy team, seeing if I need to prioritize armor first, or if I need to prioritize MR first, or if I can just go for mobility and health. And you can see I do end up going for the mobility route, and I do pick up the Giant's Belt. The reason I pick up the Giant's Belt is the Giant's Belt offers me a lot of like flexibility when it comes to building. Like at the time, at this current state, the patch was not made where Giant's Belt is a build off of the Ruby Crystal. However, right now, in this current state, like if this game was in 5.3, buying the Giant's Belt with the health crystal is very good. I really like that combination, or just the Giant's Belt in general, because Giant's Belt can be turned into a Randuin's Omen, in which case it will stop your enemy ADC from being able to get a lot of attack speed, because not only will your Ice Blast slow their attack speed, but so will the passive of Cold Steel off of Randuin's Omen. However, if the ADC is not an issue, you can go ahead and turn that Giant's Belt into a Sunfire Cape and become way more effective at split pushing and have more AoE damage in team fights. If you choose not to go with that route, and if you want to choose to go with a more tanky AP build with a Nunu, you can then take that Giant's Belt, get a blasting one, and then turn it into Rylai's Crystal Scepter. So by sitting on the Giant's Belt, I'm able to get a lot more itemization presence than had I gotten, say, like Chain Vest or something like that. Chain Vest can only go into so many things. Like the Giant's Belt, I could even turn it into a Warmogs, honestly, and I'd still be good off by doing it. So it's kind of just allowing me to have free stats while still having the freedom to build whatever I want. So that's a really important tip for you guys to know. And again, I got the mobility boots just because I want to be able to get around the map a little bit easier. Since I have timers on the blue buff, they're blue, I keep track of it, and I am taking our blue while giving, or I'm taking their blue while giving our blue to Azir. We don't really need to give Azir the blue buff in this game because we're so massively ahead. But if I had to, that would be it. That would be how I do it. Now, as you can see, my score is 0-0-0. I have 0 kill participation, which I don't want to say is typical of my Nunu games, but it is something that happens fairly often. It's not like I don't like ganking, but in this game it was very hard to gank because all of my lanes were pushed up because they were very, very good and they were able to apply a lot of pressure. So Rek'Sai had a hard time doing this jungle. But because my bot lanes were able to produce pressure, I was able to really get objectives and really like focus my efforts into the objective game and into getting dragons, stealing buffs, things like that. And you see I blood boil the Azir, so we're able to get a lot of damage off onto this inhibitor turret. Meanwhile, MF is teeing off on the enemy Gnar, able to stop them. You see right here, what I did with that ult was I created a barrier between the MF and the enemy team. So right here, MF is right here. MF has a great channel ult for a cone. So if I stand in the way of her, I'm basically acting as a barricade and she's allowed to get free damage off through my wall, basically. So you see Zed's not going to come up. Gnar's going to try and run back, and then MF just is able to channel her ultimate right there, and it's able to get a good amount of damage off while I'm able to keep her safe as well. So you see I'm always trying to body block for MF. I see Rek'Sai coming around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm always positioned between him and the MF. Sadly, Zed came in, but that was actually a really good Azir ult. So right here, I ice ball him so he has lower attack speed. She gets exhausted, so I push my body forward and start attacking the Nami in order to distract from the MF. So right here, I'm picking up the Gromp, getting a little bit of extra health back from my consume because it is going to be healing me up. Now Thresh does a really good job of coming in here. I'm going to ice ball the closest target to MF and also the person with the highest attack speed, which is going to be Draven. Thresh ends up picking up the kill there, and we are able to secure a good amount of kills. For actually not that many deaths, so I was very happy with that. So Azir's doing the right thing right now. He's pushing the mid lane turret. I'm not going to... Let's see, what do I end up doing here? I end up popping that ward down there. That's a really good ward for you guys to have. If you guys don't have that ward, or maybe like putting a pink ward outside of there. Because the pink wards, I know it's like, it sucks that you waste the money sometimes on a pink ward that dies. However, it could be time for a pick out. It could be like a bait ward or something like that. But as you can see, my pink ward's still standing, and I'm really happy with that positioning still. It still allows me to get the dragons. So I'm going to keep it there. And because they're so pushed into their base and I have vision of Rek'Sai and significant damage dealers of their team, I'm able to come in, pick up the rest of their jungle, and do what Nunu does best. So I'm basing with 2,500 gold, and I'm going to pick up the Juggernaut enchantment, and I am going to go for the split push route and the AoE route of Nunu. with the chain vest and turn that into a sunfire cape. I'm a huge fan of early home guards. I really find value in the early home guards. I know I like to pick it up, especially in lanes as well. Like I know Abdo does it a lot with his TFs. He'll rush Sork shoes with the home guard, and it basically applies infinite lane pressure because with the home guards you're able to get back in mid after a base very quickly. And if your enemy roams, like all you do is just keep pushing towers. And I just really like the utility that comes. I just missed it, damn. That was too bad. Right here, you see the example of auto-attacking while you're inside of the pit. Knocks you against the wall and comes back. But yeah, the early home guards, I just like the feel of it. I like being able to get back out onto the map quicker, and I just love the utility behind it. It fits Nunu. You can debate whether it fits laners or not, but that's my personal preference. It's really weird. It's not very conventional. However, you know, it does do the work that I need it to do. And you guys can check my game histories for exactly how fast I really build them. I don't rush them. I won't rush them as fast as Apto does, but I do end up getting it like on a second purchase or something like that. And I'm able to... I noticed that my presence on the map actually becomes a lot higher because I'm able to like always go back into lane and be able to force my laner to come back or lose turret. And you can see I'm maxing my Blood Boil second because my ADC and top laner are doing well. Both of them excel off of move speed, Fiora and Misfortune. So I'm going to go ahead and max my Blood Boil. And you see I was able to pick up a couple kills before the game ended. So I am now 2-0-4, which is a high roller if you ask me. Anyways, I'm going to be tanking the turret here. Another thing that Nunu does great is Nunu does great at tanking inhibitor turrets or any turret in general as long as the minion wave is at the base of the turret. So make sure that if you have a Nunu on your team and he's tanking, do not clear the minion waves because he'll be able to keep consuming and stopping himself from dying to the turret, and it's actually really, really effective at pushing turrets because you are able to dive and you are able to tank up the turret. So enemy team does end up surrendering at 20 minutes, and that is the game. I hope you guys really enjoyed this guide. Alright guys, without anything else to say, this has been your LOL support, and I am out of here.